first story looks at a huge twist at SummerSlam. At top of today's news are two stories concerning the much anticipated but still unconfirmed match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. While the WWE Universe is hopeful that the match will take place, there are still questions about whether CM Punk will be medically cleared to compete. Now, we previously reported that Punk was seen at the WWE Performance Center, possibly because he was checking to see if he was cleared. But now Dave Meltzer is reporting on the latest concerning Punk's condition, as well as Drew McIntyre's suspension. The Drew McIntyre suspension is pure storyline and not designed as a cover reason to delay the McIntyre vs CM Punk match, with the idea that Punk hasn't been cleared. Punk is still expected to be cleared and wrestle on that show, but we were given the impression that it could be used as a backup plan if needed. The belief is that Punk went to Orlando, Florida as part of the process to get cleared earlier this week. Fans will have to see what happens and hope that Punk doesn't rush his recovery and risk another injury. As always, we'll continue monitoring the story. But another intriguing report concerning SummerSlam concerns a guest referee working at one of the show's major matches. Dave Meltzer is reporting in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter that as of right now, there is a guest referee spot scheduled for one of the top bouts. I don't know which one it is, but I was told it's not Ripley vs Morgan. Now, the idea of Dirty Dom special refereeing the Ripley vs Morgan match has considerable potential. It would be great on the current storyline of Liv Morgan's revenge tour affecting the Rhea and Dominic relationship. At one point, some fans were hoping that WWE would book a ladder match between Ripley and Morgan for the custody of Dominic, which would have been a funny sequel to the 2005 ladder match where Rey Mysterio battled Eddie Guerrero for custody of Dominic. Now, Meltzer discussed which match he thinks will feature a special referee. I can speculate Rollins as referee for Punk vs McIntyre, but that's only a guess. Well, Meltzer actually could be right. As WrestleVotes tweeted, source states the current plans have Seth Rollins as a special guest referee for the CM Punk vs Drew McIntyre SummerSlam match. Creative is proceeding under the assumption that Punk will be ready for action with the anticipated clearance date set for Monday beforehand, 29th July. WrestleVotes also hinted that it could be the same situation where Shawn Michaels was guest referee at the 1997 SummerSlam event between The Undertaker and Bret Hart. In that match, Shawn was going to screw over Bret, but ended up hitting Undertaker instead, where he lost the belt. What do you guys think? Is this the right move? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Wyatt 6 failure? Now, the Wyatt 6 storyline has been a smash success thus far, but Hall of Famer Bully Ray is concerned whether the storyline can play out successfully. Bully Ray discussed this on Busted Open Radio, arguing, "Raw out there with Chad Gable was the first night we have seen Bo Dallas, not Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, the brother of Bray Wyatt, the brother of Wyndham Rotunda, the closest living link the WWE has to Bray. We see him live for the first time and in the flesh, and he gets a so-so reaction. To me, that's pretty concerning." Bully Ray speculated on where things will go once the novelty wears off. The Wyatts come out into the arena when the lights go out and you hear the noises and you see the smoke. Everybody's like, wow, especially because this is a new gimmick and you're seeing it for the first time. But we've seen it before, so now what? Some fans and critics are doubtful of how the storyline will play out and whether it has the legs to be a long-running storyline. The most common complaint concerns what will happen when the various members of the Wyatt Six begin wrestling. Critics look back at how The Fiend was booked as an unstoppable force and wonder whether the WWE will book the various Wyatt Six members the same. Critics have also discussed how the Wyatt Six debut was dynamite, but the follow-up was weak, primarily in how the WWE didn't address the aftermath with any significant discussion by authority figures or even on commentary. Now, that's not to say the storyline is doomed, far from it. Triple H likes to let storylines play out slowly, whether they're too slow is a matter of taste, and the WWE has a continuity editor who can keep things on track, especially given the number of players involved in a storyline. As for Bully Ray's comments about the fans' reaction to Bo Dallas, it wasn't as if the fans were booing the segment, and a weak reaction from fans, assuming it was weak, shouldn't influence your long-term plans. What do you guys think of the criticism? Is this storyline doomed to fail? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Braun Strowman coping with a problem. It looks like Braun Strowman is working on a bad wheel. The Monster Among Men returned this April from a long absence following surgery to repair his neck, and now Strowman is dealing with nagging knee problems. During an appearance on WWE Deutschland, Strowman revealed, "Knee's a little banged up. I got a doctor's appointment this week to get it checked out. It's been bugging me a little bit. If you've noticed, I've been a little off step these last couple of weeks. There's been some little tweak going on in there. When I caught it up on the top of the barricade, I felt something move in my kneecap, so I had a bruise on my knee at the end of the match, and stuff like that. So, not using it as an excuse or anything like that, but it sure heck didn't help me not get beat." Now, hopefully Braun can get his knee fixed without surgery or any extended absence. As fans have seen with other wrestlers, knee injuries can be devastating, taking wrestlers out of action for close to a year in some cases. Now, we wish Strowman all the best as he deals with this problem. Next up, Kevin Owens' mom kicks out. Kevin Owens is sharing wonderful news about his mom's medical condition. KO's mom was hospitalized with an undisclosed medical condition, but there appears to be progress, as Owens tweeted a picture of his mom with her holding a Just Keep Fighting shirt along with this message: "She kicked out." This is great news, and we send our best wishes to KO's mom for a full and fast recovery. Next up, Linda McMahon breaks silence on Vince scandal. Did Linda McMahon comment on the Janelle Grant lawsuit against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the WWE? You may have heard that McMahon discussed the lawsuit during an interview at the Republican National Convention where she was one of the speakers. However, Mrs. McMahon's comments were more general about how she and her family are doing. Going ringside, Scott Johnson interviewed Linda about her involvement as a member of the Trump administration, as she served as a head of small business administration. Cage-side seats noted the end of the interview, where Johnson asked, "How are you and your family doing? It's been an up and down year for you guys." McMahon commented, "We're all doing great. Thank you. Doing great." It's unlikely Linda would comment on any personal knowledge of the lawsuit, and as you can see, her statement was more of a blanket statement on how she and her family are doing. Next up, AJ Styles is classy AF. What does AJ Styles think about Will Ospreay using the Styles Clash during his 17th July match against MJF on Dynamite? The Phenomenal One shared his thoughts on X, saying, "Why do you think it bothers me that someone else is doing my move? We all do it. I think if nothing else, it shows appreciation." Now, not all wrestlers are happy when another wrestler uses a move they developed or made famous. Nonetheless, using another wrestler's move is common. The only time a move is restricted from being used in a promotion is when it only lets one wrestler use it, usually to keep the move special, or because the move has been banned due to safety reasons. WWE fans may recall how the piledriver was essentially banned due to concerns it being too risky, although exceptions were made for The Undertaker on certain occasions. Interestingly, Will Ospreay also referenced one of his moves that Cody Rhodes adopted. As Ringside News noted, Ospreay gave a nod to Cody Rhodes by winking at the camera before hitting MJF with a cross Rhodes. Rhodes has previously acknowledged that he adapted the Cody cutter from Ospreay's O's cutter. What do you guys think about other wrestlers using moves developed by another wrestler? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Hulk Hogan promotes TRUMPMANIA. Last but not least, could Hulk Hogan be throwing his hat into the presidential ring again? While the Hulkster appeared in this week's Republican National Convention, it wasn't to announce his campaign to become US president as he did during his 90s run in the New World Order. No, Hogan was there to endorse Republican candidate Donald Trump. Prior to the speech, Hogan spoke with Fox News about why he's speaking on the Republican candidate's behalf. "Well, you know, Brett, I get tired of remaining silent. You know, I sat back and watched the borders collapse. I watched the economy collapse. You know, I watched the price of gas, the price of food, everything just go upside down flip. And when they took a shot at my hero Donald Trump, I realized that I couldn't be silent anymore, you know? I had to step up. I had to be a real American, just like all these real Americans here and Donald Trump. I have a voice too, and I want people to know it's time. It's time not to be silent anymore." During his speech, Hogan tore off his t-shirt, revealing a Trump van